in the state of Pennsylvania in 38 days. We're going to turn Pennsylvania red, send Kamala Harris back in, and send Donald Trump back to the White House. Let me say a few notes of appreciation. First of all, to my lovely wife, Usha. Thank you so much for letting me do this. I don't know why you put up with me, but there's no turning back now. I want to thank the great Congressman, Dan Muser. Where's Dan at? Thank you, Dan. We got Congressman Lloyd Smucker. Lloyd, thank you so much for being here, serving the people of Pennsylvania. We got State GOP Chairman Lawrence Thomas. Lawrence, say hello. And of course, we've got the owner of the Newtown Athletic Club and one of the MVPs of the Trump campaign, Ken Worthington. Thank you, Ken. Now look, I don't know if you guys saw, but a couple of days ago, for the first time, Kamala Harris sat down for an interview with a national audience. It was amazing. It was the person that she sat down with, of course, had already endorsed Kamala Harris, so I don't know if that counts as much of an interview. But you know, it drove home just how completely without substance Kamala Harris is. You know, she gives an interview and they'll ask her, what is your specific plan for cutting down on the inflation that your policies cause? And she'll say, well, I grew up in a middle class family. They'll say, Kamala, the world's at war. We've got a war in Asia. We've got a war in Europe. We've got another war threatening in East Asia. What is your plan to bring back stability to the world? That's exactly right. No wars with Trump. What's your plan? What's your plan to follow suit, Kamala Harris? And she'll say, well, when I worked at McDonald's, I was good at making the hash brown. And you realize the problem with Kamala Harris is that she's got no substance. The problem with Kamala Harris is that she's got no plan. And the problem with Kamala Harris is that she has been the vice president for 3.5 years and has failed this country. Let's send her back to San Francisco and put Donald Trump back in the White House. Now, you know, I came to Pennsylvania. I want to come in the same week that President Zelensky from Ukraine came to Pennsylvania. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but he came to campaign with the Democratic leadership of this country. You know, we've spent $200 billion on Ukraine. You know what I wish Zelensky would do when he comes to the United States of America? Say thank you to the people of Pennsylvania and everybody else. Now, you heard somebody back here say it, but I'm going to repeat it, but Donald Trump was the candidate of peace, the candidate who brought stability to the world for the first time, really in my lifetime. We have a new war started under an American president for the first time in 40 years. And of course, the supporters of Kamala Harris say that Donald Trump was not the candidate of peace, and we know that he was the candidate of peace. He was a candidate of prosperity. He was a candidate of American citizenry and putting them first. Now here's the thing. We have so many problems right now in the United States of America, but we got a lot to be thankful for. We have the most beautiful country in the entire world. I really do believe that. We've got natural resources, including right here in the state of Pennsylvania, great natural gas. Let's get it on the ground with Pennsylvania workers. When when Donald Trump is president, we are going to drill, baby, drill, and bring back the great American energy economy. And Kamala Harris, she is the candidate of not buying oil and gas from Americans and Pennsylvanians. Kamala Harris wants us to buy energy from every tin-pot dictator all over the world. Kamala, we say, no way, we're going to buy it from our own people right here in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, here, let's just run through the Kamala Harris economic record. And I'm going to try not to depress everybody too much because Kamala Harris's economic record is depressing, my friends. We've got inflation at 40-year highs. We've got groceries that are 25% higher than Kamala Harris when she took office. And that's because Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking vote on almost $4 trillion of new spending, printing money that we don't have to juice inflation and destroy the middle class in the state of Pennsylvania. Thanks to Kamala Harris, eggs are about 115% higher. That's more than double the price than when she took office. And I got 3 little kids, my friends. We buy a lot of eggs, so I'm pretty pissed off at Kamala Harris over the price of eggs. When Kamala Harris took office, since then, 3.5 years, gas prices have gone up 35%. Energy has gone up 40%. And it's not just Kamala Harris's terrible economy, of course. It is the wide open southern border. The borders are causing, and we can't let it forget it. That's exactly right. It is an invasion of this country. And we can't let folks forget that it is deeply connected to what's going on when it comes to the economy. What's going on at the border is deeply connected to what's going on. Now, think about this. When you let in 25 million people, many of whom are bringing fentanyl into this country, and they're competing against Americans buying homes that ought by right go to American citizens, that is why we have skyrocketing housing costs in the state of Pennsylvania and all across our country. So here's our message to Kamala Harris and the 25 million illegal aliens she has let park in the United States of America. In 6 months, pack your bags because you're going home. That's right. We're going to build the wall, we're going to re-implement deportations, and we're going to go to war against the Mexican drug cartels. No more bringing explosions into our country. We got to get the hell out.
Oh, I want to live to see that.
Now, it is funny to me because Kamala Harris, she doesn't have an ounce of proposal or an ounce of plan. Now, I've only been in politics a couple of years, so maybe, my friends, I'm just not shameless enough to stand before a crowd and do what Kamala Harris does. Because she has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And she'll say to a crowd without an ounce of humility or shame, on day one, we're going to tackle the wide open southern border. On day one, she'll say, we're going to make groceries and housing more affordable for American citizens. Well, Kamala, day one was 1,400 days ago. What the hell have you been doing? Stop talking about what we're going to do and go and do it. Now, I think that the thing that Kamala Harris and the Democrats say that bothers me the most is when they talk about how they allegedly stand for working people in the middle class. We know that's not true, right? If she stood for the middle class, why did she suspend deportations and open up the American southern border? If she stands for the middle class, why did she fire thousands and hundreds of thousands of people for refusing to take the COVID vaccine a few years ago? If she stands for the middle class, why does she want to tax the middle class in this country to give rich people to give rich people money to buy electric vehicles made in China? That doesn't make any sense, does it? If she stood for the middle class, why is she trying to destroy the Pennsylvania energy industry? If you stand for the middle class, unleash Pennsylvania energy workers. Let's do it for our own people and our own citizens. Now, it's funny, she has, I will say this, she recognizes how unpopular her actual governance is. She recognizes how unpopular her record is, so she's running away from it every chance she gets. Now, she's on camera saying she wanted to ban fracking, but now she says, oh, I didn't mean it. She's on camera saying that she wanted to give illegal aliens Medicare, which would bankrupt that program, but now she says, no, I didn't mean it. Kamala Harris said on tape, she said on tape that she wanted to ban all private health insurance, but now she said, no, I take that back. And of course she said she wanted to defund the police, but that too, she now pretends she didn't actually believe. You know, Kamala, if you support fracking, if you support the police, if you support lower prices, and you want to close down the southern border, you're welcome to endorse Donald J. Trump. All of us. Now, I actually joke with the president. I say, sir, she is copying every single one of your positions. She's not doing it, to be clear. She's not actually governed that way. But I say, sir, she is so obsessed with pretending that she agrees with you on all these issues, I think she's going to show up to her next rally with her red MAGA hat. She's going to steal one of your hats back there. Because here's the thing, Kamala Harris recognizes the American people have common sense. Kamala Harris recognizes the people of Pennsylvania have common sense, and she is lying because she recognizes that people of common sense are going to reject Kamala Harris and her failed policies and her failed government, and that's what we're going to do. Now, look, part of the reason I think that Kamala Harris is so disgraceful when they say that their policies work for the middle class, and part of the reason I get so frustrated by that is because I grew up in a family that was affected by the kind of failed policies enacted by Kamala Harris. Now, I remember when my grandmother and I were really tight with money. We didn't have a whole lot extra to spend, and it got very cold in the middle of a cold Ohio winter, and my grandmother would say, you know, we just don't have enough money to turn on the heat tonight. And I think about a lot of Pennsylvania families out there who are going to go through a cold winter in a couple of months. And I happen to believe whether you're rich or poor, if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to turn your heat on in the middle of a cold winter night. I remember when my grandmother would negotiate with somebody from Meals on Wheels to try to get a little bit of extra food so that she could share it with me. And I happen to believe that if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family, but a lot of families can't. But a lot of families can't because of the policies of Kamala Harris. And I happen to believe that whether you're rich or poor, the sacred right of every American citizen, and most importantly, every American child, is to grow up in security and safety in their own neighborhoods, which means kicking out the illegal aliens and kicking out the drug dealers and making our streets less safe. Now, you all remember, there was a woman who spoke at the RNC. It was the speech that affected me the most personally, I think because a lot of folks in my family struggled with addiction when I was growing up, and I know what toll it takes on a family. And this woman was talking about her 15-year-old son who had died of a fentanyl overdose. And what had happened is that this boy had done what a lot of teenagers in our country do. He had taken something, under peer pressure, and it happened to be laced with fentanyl that these drug cartels are bringing into our country. And so, what for generations of Americans was a teenage mistake is something that took this poor boy's life. And as the father of a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, my friends, I want to raise my children in a country that is safe enough for kids to make mistakes and learn from them rather than make mistakes. I want to raise my children in a country where it's safe enough where whether you're rich or poor, you can walk down the street in safety and comfort, and that is the birthright of every American citizen. I want to raise my children in a country where everybody who works hard and plays by the rules can afford a nice meal for their families and for their children. And because of that, I want to raise my children in a country governed by President Donald J. Trump, not the former Donald J.